Delegate of Pakistan, the moment you send me your speech personally, please let me know as well here in the committee, either via the chat box or whatever suits you. All
Okay,
right?
okay, I will.
Perfect.
Yes.
All right. It's
anyone, I may request you all to turn on your videos. Vice Chair, can you confirm if I'm clearly audible?
Yes, Chairperson, you're clearly audible.
You may proceed with the roll call now.
All right, so delegates, I'll be proceeding with the roll call. So you'll be just answering with the present or absent. All right. So delegate of Australia.
Present and voting.
No, you just need to say present. We have written down what you took yesterday, like present or present.
Okay. Present.
Delegate of Maldives.
Present.
Delegate of Philippines.
Present.
Delegate of Bangladesh. Delegate of Bangladesh. Is not there. All right. Delegate of New Zealand. Delegate of New Zealand. Is also not there. All right. Delegate of Norway.
Present.
Delegate of North. All right. Delegate of Saudi Arabia.
Present.
Delegate of UAE.
Present.
Delegate of Germany.
Present.
Delegate of Canada.
Present.
Delegate of Malaysia.
Present.
Delegate of Brazil.
Present.
Delegate of Sri Lanka.
Present.
Delegate of Turkey. Delegate of Turkey. Okay, all right. Delegate of United Kingdom. Delegate of United Kingdom. Okay. Delegate of Democratic People's Republic of Korea. DPRK.
Present.
Delegate of Myanmar. Delegate of Myanmar. Okay, all right. Delegate of Jordan. Delegate of Jordan. Delegate of Pakistan. Delegate of Pakistan. Delegate of Mauritius. Delegate of Finland.
Present. Delegate of Mauritius is present here.
All right, all right. Delegate of Finland.
Present.
All right. Delegate of India.
Present.
Delegate of Egypt.
Present.
Delegate of Italy. Delegate of Italy. Delegate of China.
Present and voting.
Delegate of Denmark.
Present.
Um, Delegate of Qatar.
Present and voting.
Delegate of Russia. Delegate of Russia. Delegate of Brazil. Delegate of
Present.
Brazil. Delegate of United States of America. Delegate of United States of America. Delegate of Ukraine.
Present.
Delegate of Republic of Korea.
Present.
Delegate of Thailand. Delegate of
Present.
all. Delegate of Vietnam.
Present.
Okay. So we finished with the roll call.
Respected co-chair, delegate of Bangladesh has just joined.
All right,
If,
delegate.
if you could.
All right, delegate. I have marked you present. I will be again going with the absentees. Delegate of New Zealand. Delegate
Yeah,
of
because
Norway.
even I see he's been given Poland, right? So yes.
Delegate of
Devanshi.
Turkey.
Yeah. Yes, here Devanshi.
Delegate of United
I
Kingdom.
see his name for Poland, right? But
Delegate of Myanmar.
yesterday,
Delegate of Jordan.
yesterday he was there,
Delegate of Mauritius.
right?
Present.
All right,
Yeah.
you're present. All right. Delegate of Pakistan. Delegate of Pakistan. All right. Delegate
So
of Italy.
okay. So right. So I think we can continue, but still I want to confirm. But it is
Delegate of
prepared with
Russia.
this. Okay. This should make it. Right, I'll just get that.
Delegate of United States of America. All right. So we are finished with the roll call. I may ask the chair to proceed.
May I know the name of the delegate who were not present yesterday but are here today?
All right. So yesterday, the delegates who were present, who weren't present yesterday but are present today are Vietnam, delegate of Thailand, delegate, yeah, just these two delegates, and delegate of Norway.
Okay, thank you. Delegate of Mauritius, do you have your mic working today?
Yes, it's working today.
Okay, great.
Okay,
Also,
thank
I
you.
was looking forward for your speeches yesterday, but of course you had some technical issues. So you can
Yeah.
mail me your speech and I'll mark you on that. I've dropped my mail in the chat box.
Okay, thank you so much.
First of all, does anybody have any doubt before we proceed into the debate regarding anything? It may be informal or formal. The delegate of Denmark, you said that when you went to the background guide, you couldn't.
Yes, that's
Okay, you were talking about the background. I thought you were talking about the background guide given. It's okay, no issues. Now proceeding on to the debate, we were in a moderated caucus on the topic being what are the root causes of the guilty party for reduction in ocean pH level. We had taken about 6 to 7 speakers yesterday. I'm recognizing more speakers for the moderated caucus. Please raise your hands who are willing to speak. And you are always welcome to speak multiple times for a moderated caucus or even GSL. Please raise your hands, delegates who wants to speak. No, I guess I have to go with the default settings then. The delegate of Brazil, you are next.
Thank you for your recognition. So the second question was, just a moment, please. What are the impacts of ocean acidification on marine life and the ocean ecosystems? So the delegate of Brazil wants to state that without change, we can stop our marine life from dying in this way, and are many ways that ocean acidification affects organisms on global scale. The ocean are warming and losing oxygen. Marine organisms have complex biology, capacity to adjust to change and adapt across generation. And on a religion scale, other stressors come into play.
Thank you, delegate. Any questions for the delegate of Brazil? Seeing no question, we move on to the China has a question. Go on.
Uh, I would like to thank the General Board for being recognized. Has Brazil found any solutions for ocean acidification? As you only spoke about the situation and the issue.
Yes, I find some solution. The development and strengthening of human resources, making the linkage between science and action happen. Updating the quantitative information and tools for political and economic decision makers, the deployment of a network of long-term monitoring of biochemical and physical parameters in ocean and coastal regions of economic and social importance.
Okay, thank you for your answer.
Thank you, delegate. The delegate of Denmark, you are next.
Sir, I am not ready for this. I have had very little time to prepare.
Okay, maybe you can take some time right now and just gather up the information you have researched about right now. I'll recognize you again after some time.
Thank you, sir.
The delegate of Canada.
May I have please some time to think a bit more about the answer for this too?
Okay, delegate. The delegate of Egypt. Delegate of Egypt. Delegate of Finland.
Yes, I do. Thank you for your recognition. I have only the beginning. Root causes for reduction in ocean pH. Shall I go forward?
Yeah, you should go forward.
The following short speech brought forward by the delegate will concern the subtopics of ocean acidification. We would like to start off by directing your attention to the root cause of ocean acidification, carbon emissions. From 1880 to 2015, 88 major carbon producers have contributed 55% to the observed increase in ocean acidification. More than 1/5 of that acidity from 1880 can be traced specifically to 20 large investor and state-owned companies, including Chevron, ExxonMobil, Shell plc, and others, two of which have subsidiaries in Australia. We thank you for your recognition.
Thank you, delegate. Any questions for the delegate of Finland? We move forward. The delegate of Germany, you are next.
May I please have some time to think?
Okay, delegate.
Thank you.
What we can do right now is maybe have a 10-minute unmoderated caucus where I would not speak anything and you all are free to discuss openly, but in a delegated manner, like do not create a fuss. You all can take 10 minutes and discuss with each other about the issue, about the root causes, about ocean acidification, or anything else you would like to discuss around the agenda. You are free to do that. We are moving into an unmoderated caucus for 10 minutes. So, delegate, please raise a motion for unmoderated caucus.
The delegate of Finland would be open to discussing geoengineering options to prevent ocean acidification, further ocean acidification.
You are looking forward for another moderated caucus delegate?
Yes.
First, we have to sum up with this one, the one going right now, because only few delegates have spoken. We have to debate on this right now. What I am giving you right now is 10 minutes to discuss freely amongst yourself about the topic and about the moderated caucus. You are all open to discuss. Thank you.
The delegate of Maldives would like to ask the other delegates about what can be the best solution to replace the burning fossil fuels and around the world.
The delegate of Australia would like to answer.
Please do.
Yeah, the delegate of Maldives, the delegate of Australia would like to tell that a good replacement for fossil fuels is renewable sources of energy and clean and green energy like wind energy and solar energy. And this would act like killing two birds with the same stone, as when we switch to renewable sources of energy, the problem of CO2 emissions will be solved, and also the companies who manufacture parts of solar panels and other parts of renewable sources of energy, they will be benefited a lot. So I think switching it with renewable sources of energy, and also we can also use hydel power by the energy stored in dams.
Thank you, the delegate of Australia. But the delegate of Maldives' question is that will the replacement of fossil fuels with the renewable energy resources will affect the country's economy? Because the countries having less economy will be affected, I think, which are dependent on the fossil fuels.
So we can prioritize certain industries, like for electricity generation we can slowly switch to many industries for renewable sources of energy. First, like we can take electricity. Like electricity is generated mostly by fossil fuels, but now many countries are switching in terms of electricity. Many countries are switching to renewable sources of energy, and Australia too is on its track to generate more than half of its electricity needs from renewable sources of energy.
Like windmills.
Yeah, windmills, solar panels, and hydel power generation.
The delegate of Mauritius would like to say something. Can I go on?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, as you were saying, as the delegate of Maldives, as you were saying that this will affect the economy. So if we think about it, and if we more focus on implementing the renewable energy, and if we focus on that, and if we focus on that, I think that the economy will not be affected, because if we will upgrade our technologies, and if we work on it, if we do research, and then we could do more with the renewable energy, and I think this will not affect the economy.
Okay. Thank you,
But
may the delegate of China say something?
Yes, sure.
The delegate of China thinks that the delegate of Australia and Mauritius are correct. It's true that we could use solar panels and we could also use windmills as a source of electricity. And the delegate of China personally thinks that it wouldn't affect the economy, as in the long term cost, renewable energies like solar panels and windmills, and even hydraulic pressure electricity would not make much of a difference than fossil fuel energy, as fossil fuel require a cost over time to produce and manufacture and to run. But solar energy doesn't really need to be replaced. Solar panels can only need to be cleaned. Same for other renewable energy sources, which is why it wouldn't really affect the economy in the long term, as it would be costly at first, but in the eventual time, people wouldn't have to pay a continuous price to use to use electricity from these renewable sources of energy.
The delegate of Australia would like to clarify something to the delegate of Mauritius, that like a sudden switch of from fossil fuels to renewable sources of energy, this is not possible because the renewable sources, upgrading them and setting up them, it costs a lot, so economy
Yes.
would be affected. I agree on some points with the delegate of Maldives, but yeah, I agree with the delegate of China too, that we should switch gradually to renewable sources of energy.
Yeah, it takes time for something to be implemented. So yeah, it would affect the economy in the beginning, but I think if we work on it, it will slowly and gradually we would upgrade it, and then at some point the economy will not be affected, and at the same time, like the the ocean and the ecosystem will be saved as well.
Can the delegate of DPRK say something?
Yes, the delegate of DPRK, you can proceed.
Yeah, thank you. Well, if it's the problem about the amount of money which will be needed to install it, then the delegate of DPRK believes that a cooperation between two nations or some through some cooperation between the IMF. That's why we have some agency like that to give necessary funds for the countries to implement, because as the delegate of Mauritius mentioned, even though the installment may need some money, after that solar energy and hydropower are actually free resources, so the economy will not be damaged in long term. So just thank you.
Yeah.
Can I say something? Yeah, the delegate of Qatar thinks all the other nations that have spoken are correct, but would like to suggest LNG or liquefied natural gas, which Qatar is the largest producer of, even though it's not being a renewable energy, but it has contributed a lot in reducing carbon emissions and is like a great backup for renewable energy. And many nations have like experienced
The delegate of Maldives agree with the delegate of Qatar that compressed natural gas and liquefied petroleum gas has made a big change and has replaced the use of petroleum and diesel. So that's like an example of how we can use the renewable energy and we can replace the fossil fuels.
Excuse me, the delegates of Philippines would also like to add that actually the main cause that we are still considering of having this kind of wind technology or maybe solar panel and etc. is because we are lacking of the money cycle, so the monetary cycle, and also we would like to also add some information that we need to also focus on another aspect, not only looking for the renewable sources other than fossil fuels, but we also need to have this kind of effort in the and how and we manage the system, or maybe how can we manage maybe the usage of fossil fuel first, and then we can also have this kind of new system that what like what the other delegates have said, that we can also have the new system into changing this kind of system into new into on searching for new renewable sources. Thank you.
The delegate of Bangladesh would also add something. We agree with the delegate of Philippines that most of the main problem is with the costs, because it's mostly most of them are very expensive for a lot of countries to afford. And currently, renewable energy sources only account for around 8% of the US energy consumption and about 14% of the world's energy needs. This is primarily because the technology has taken time to develop in order to produce large amounts of clean energy, and most of our engines and systems were developed to run off of fossil fuels. So solar power, for example, may be healthier for the planet, but that doesn't mean it is entirely reliable. While that can sound crazy, the sun shines in some form every day, right? It's because the solar panels we have can only generate electricity when it's a clear sunny day. And in order for a home or a business to rely entirely on solar power, the owners would need to live in a sunny area and use batteries to store excess energy for cloudy and rainy days. And while technology is advancing quickly, and some scientists are having success with panels that can generate energy even on overcast days, obviously it's not sustainable enough yet to fuel a nation. So installing solar panels on our homes and anywhere else is also a costly exercise. And so while we will likely see more new buildings go up with solar panels on their roofs, it will be a while before there are enough to contribute significantly to the power grid. So the conclusion from my speech is that the most renewable energy right now is still not effective, and do other countries have a solution to make these renewable energies more effective in the future?
Though the delegate of Bangladesh is partially right, the truth is you have only spoken limitedly about solar energy, while there are multiple types of renewable energy that can be used. And though the cost will be expensive at the first time, it would be quite costly. In the long term, it would cost less to operate than fossil fuels such as diesel, because over the long period of time, it will take more to pay a worker over multiple days to uh, extract these fossil fuels so that someone could burn them and then run a factory so that it could be shipped over and turned into electricity. Which is why cost, and since you only spoke about solar energy while there are multiple types of other renewable energies, your statement is partially true but not completely correct.
The delegate of Australia agrees with the delegate of China.
The delegate of Maldives would like to add one point of the impact of ocean acidification, that more than one third of the world's population lives in one of the 25 nations of the world which are going to be first affected by ocean acidification. So the most common solution for the people is migration, which is not a good thing. So in a country like Maldives, Maldives is planning to make a floating city, which will always stay on top of rising sea levels, as ocean acidification is causing the rise of sea levels in Maldives and countries like Maldives. So this floating city, like as we know that Maldives thrives on tourism, right? So this floating city will also affect the tourism very positively, and which will also make a good growth in the country's economy, and also it will prevent the country from sinking underwater, which will be one of the most major effect of ocean acidification on Maldives. Thank you.
The delegate of Mauritius would like to say something. Should I go forward? Yes. So, as we were talking about this topic, I would like to say that yes, we should try to switch to the renewable energy sources, but there are other things we could do as well. Like if there is carbon in the atmosphere, it will go to the ocean and uh, it will create the ocean acidification. So what we could do as nations is we could focus more on plantation, because as we all know that plants reduce the carbon. So we should as nations plant more trees and do more plantation to reduce the carbon in the atmosphere, so that technically the carbons can be reduced in the atmosphere, and technically there will be no or less ocean acidification in the ocean.
The delegate of Maldives agree with the delegate of Mauritius, but I would like to add one point that as the delegate of Mauritius quoted that plants reduce the carbon from the atmosphere, but we should also protect these plants because rotting and burning of these plants leads to deforestation and also a huge amount of carbon dioxide is released in the atmosphere, hence leading to ocean acidification.
Yes, I agree with that.
The delegate of China would also like to add a point that there isn't much space in multiple countries to plant these trees, and plants, though would be a good solution, they also seem to catch a lot on fire these days, as wildfires have become more common with the increasing levels of carbon dioxide in the air. Do you have a solution for that could possibly work for the spacing of these plantations and trees?
The delegate of China, can you please repeat what you said? What you said? I'm sorry.
Yeah. I would also like to add one point is that there isn't much space in multiple countries to plant the rest of these trees. So would you have a solution for where the plantation would go and where these trees would go?
Excuse me, can the delegation from Philippines add something?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So actually, instead of like what the delegate from China had said before, we can there's no much space in in every country. Not every country has enough space to plant like a lot of trees, but we can also have this kind of solution where we can also plant like sea plants such as kelp or maybe seaweed to reduce ocean acidification, and also it can also have a big contribution uh, to minimizing the climate change that is caused by the fossil fuels. So I believe that there are still a lot of solutions. Yeah, instead of planting a lot of trees, because we still also need to consider the amount of land that we also need for managing a lot of things, instead not only for the environmental issue, but we also need to see from another issue, from another aspect of life. Thank you.
Yeah, the delegate
Thank you,
of
delegates. Okay, the delegate of Qatar, you can go last, then we'll end this session.
The delegate of Qatar would like to say that the delegate agrees with the delegate of Philippines that there may be many solutions other than plantations, like waste reduction and diversion in those countries.
Thank you, delegate. Now we have elapsed the time for the unmoderated caucus. I'd say that was a very informative and fruitful session. And now we'll continue with our moderated caucus. So moving on to the next speaker. Canada, are you ready with your speech?
The delegate of Canada would like to bring into the speech the uh, idea of adopting the use of alternative and renewable energy sources that can be one of the best available options for this country. Diversification of energy sources, such as the use of solar and wind as alternative energy sources, can significantly pay off. Uh, when there is a reduced carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere, there will be a resilient change in the ocean. The other viable option that can be reliable is geothermal, which is environmentally friendly. Geothermal power can be such as an initiative because it comes with less emission of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. This would reduce the change of contaminating the ocean waters.
Thank you, delegate. Are there any questions for the delegate of Canada? Qatar, China, and Australia, if you don't have any question, you can lower down your hand, or if you have any, you can ask. Okay, now we'll recognize just 5 more speakers for this moderated caucus and move back to the GSL. So speakers who want to speak in this general speakers in this moderated caucus may raise their hands. Just 5 more speakers now. Any delegate willing to speak? Okay, the delegate of China, you have been recognized, followed by Maldives. Any more delegate? Just a second, delegate. Delegate of Mauritius. Delegate of India. One more speaker we need here. Anyone willing? The delegate of Finland. Okay. The delegate of China, you may go now.
The delegate of China would like to thank the General Board for recognition. The reduction in the ocean pH is caused by human-driven increase in the level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Basically meaning that the more carbon dioxide produced by humans, the more CO2 dissolves into the water, and that increases the pH of the ocean. The increase in carbon has been an issue created by the Industrial Revolution that has drastically increased the level of carbon dioxide in the air in the past few decades, which is why the increase in carbon has started. The increase in carbon has caused the rest of the carbon in the atmosphere to be absorbed by water, which is the reason why the pH of the ocean is decreasing.
Thank you, delegate. Any questions for the delegate of China? As there are no questions, the delegate of Maldives, you are next.
Thank you, the Executive Board, for your recognition. Ocean acidification is mainly caused by carbon dioxide gas in the atmosphere dissolving into the ocean. This leads to a lowering of the water's pH, making the ocean more acidic. Many factors contribute to rising carbon dioxide levels. Currently, the burning of fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and gas for human industry is one of the major causes. Deforestation results in fewer trees to absorb the gas. Also, when plants are cut down and burned or left to rot, the carbon that makes up the organic tissue is released as carbon dioxide. In the past, ocean acidification occurred naturally, but over a much longer period of time, it is occurring faster now than in the last 20 million years. The main culprit for this is the burning of fossil fuels. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. Any questions for the delegate of Maldives? Seeing no questions, we move on to the the delegate of Australia. You can go on with the question.
Thank you for recognizing me, the executive board. The delegate of Australia would like to ask the delegate of Maldives that he stated that burning of fossil fuels is the main culprit behind ocean acidification. Are you determined and you still think so? Because there are many other factors causing ocean acidification, and burning of fossil fuels is just a small part of it. Would you like to justify?
Thank you, delegate of Australia, for the question. The delegate of Maldives doesn't think that it's a small part because currently, like I'm talking about in the current time, burning of fossil fuels is the have the main effect on ocean acidification, as we all know, because many of the countries also depend on fossil fuels because of their economy.
Thank you, delegates. We move on to the next speaker, the delegate of Mauritius.
Thank you for the recognition. For a good reason, ocean acidification is sometimes called as osteoporosis of the sea. Ocean acidification can create conditions that eat away the minerals used by oysters, clams, lobsters, shrimps, coral reefs, and other marine life to build their shells and skeletons. Furthermore, oil spills can also have a devastating effect on the ocean ecosystem. It spreads over the surface in a thin layer that stops oxygen getting to the plants and animals that live underneath. That prevents photosynthesis in plants, disturbs the food chain, and it takes a long time to recover. To overcome this issue, my country Mauritius is focusing on implementation of Sustainable Development Goals 14 because it's the key to the success of the country and the safety and security of the ocean ecosystem. Last but not the least, Mauritius has also signed the Marpol Convention of IMO for the prevention of such for the future or for the oil spills that could may happen in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. Any questions for the delegate of Mauritius? Delegate of Qatar, you have been recognized.
The delegate of Qatar would like to ask the delegate of Mauritius that you mentioned oil spills in your speech. How is Mauritius trying to prevent these oil spills from happening?
The oil spills. Can you give me a minute?
Of course.
Thank you. Sure.
Okay, till then we take the next speaker, the delegate of India. You are next.
Thank you for your recognition. Since the Industrial Revolution, the atmospheric concentration of carbon dioxide has significantly increased due to human actions such as burning of fossil fuels and changing use of land. The carbon dioxide is absorbed by the ocean and the concentration of hydrogen ions increases. That causes higher acidity and lower pH. The average ocean pH right now is 8.1, which is basic, but the ocean acidification will become more acidic, and that will hugely impact the ecosystem. But this could be evaded by using cleaner energy sources and just a generally greener way of life. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. Any questions for the delegate of India? The delegate of China, you have been recognized.
The delegate of China would like to thank the General Board for recognition. The delegate of China would like to ask the delegate of India, you have mentioned that there are multiple cleaner ways of living. Which cleaner ways of living right now has India applied into their system to reduce ocean acidification?
Thank you for the question. India right now is sorry, at the moment I can't think of an answer. Apologies.
Completely fine, delegate, no issues. We move on to the
Just a
next
second.
delegate. Yeah.
Delegates, please switch on your cameras. You are expected to keep them on throughout the meeting.
And can we have a committee photograph right now? So please switch on your cameras, the maximum number of people. Aditya, inform me when you are done.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, till then we continue with the next last speech for this moderated caucus. The delegate of Finland, you may continue.
Thank you for your recognition. The delegate of Finland would like to point out an important fact that will help slow down ocean acidification. One way that we believe will improve ocean acidification is managing situations on a local scale. There is a big need for improved local measuring accuracy and extended, well-coordinated monitoring, especially in the Arctic area, with shared responsibilities and resources amongst countries. Yes, we yield the floor back to the chair.
Thank you, delegate. Now we are done with a moderated caucus on the root cause of the guilty party for ocean acidification. Now we move back to the general speakers list, which was for 90 seconds. We'll continue that with the flow of the debate. Are there any speakers on the floor for the general speakers list? Seeing no speakers, we move with the attendance sheet. The delegate of Mauritius, you are next.
I'm sorry, may I know what you just said? I couldn't hear you.
Like we were doing a 90-second speech by each delegate yesterday before moving on to a subtopic. So we continue with that and it's your turn to speak. So are you willing to speak right now?
No, can I do that later? Can you give me 5 minutes?
Okay, we'll take yours after
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Yeah, I
The
will do
delegate
it
of
after 5 minutes.
Sure. The delegate of Australia, you have any doubt?
I wanted to speak my GSL.
Okay, you have been recognized. Just wait. The delegate of Maldives, you have also been recognized. Any other delegate? We'll take second GSLs after we are done with the first GSLs by each delegate. So only a few delegates are left. Delegate of Pakistan, are you here? Yes, the delegate of UAE.
I would like to give my GSL speech.
Okay, you have not given one yet, so you can go on with your speech.
Thank you for recognition. Ocean acidification is a threat to marine organisms, ecosystems, services, and resources. 1/4 of the carbon dioxide released into the atmosphere from anthropogenic activities is absorbed by the ocean. However, this vital service is not without consequence, which are when carbon dioxide enters the ocean, it changes seawater chemistry, resulting in increased seawater acidity. That change severely affects biological processes with potentially profound socioeconomic impacts. Dumping waste in the sea raises environmental concerns, which is life-threatening on the marine ecosystem in the region. The Ministry of Climate Change and Environment, in collaboration with its partner in the public and private sectors, continues to work towards greater protection of the marine and coastal environment and the preservation of its vital role through implementing the principles of the integrated management of the marine and coastal environment. The UAE has enacted laws banning throwing waste and oil sludge into the water by the hundreds of tankers operating in the region. Mr. Al-Mazrui said the country was moving away from relying on groundwater and energy-intensive methods of desalination, which is a process that removes salt from seawater. The UAE also plans to build more reverse osmosis desalination plants. Reverse osmosis is a low-energy way to purify water using membrane technology. Long story short, ocean acidification is a global issue which is affecting all ocean regions. It is important as it may have severe impacts on marine organisms and ecosystem.
Thank you, Delegate. Any questions for the Delegate of UAE? The Delegate of Saudi Arabia, you have been recognized.
Thank you for your recognition. I would like to ask the delegate of the UAE. As you said just now, the UAE is planning to build more reverse osmosis desalination plants. So, can you explain more about reverse osmosis and how it helps on preventing the issue of ocean acidification? Thank you.
In reverse osmosis desalination, water is taken from the sea and receives a first treatment to eliminate impurities, oil, seaweed, rubbish, and so on. Once free of organic substances, the salt water can be subjected to reverse osmosis. After the filtering, we have two streams, which are one brine and the other fresh water. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Any delegate speak in the GSLN has not spoken yet. The delegate of Pakistan, are you here? Delegate of Republic of Korea. Delegate of Korea.
Yes.
You can go on with your GSL if you are ready.
Oceans have experienced significant declines in seawater potential of hydrogen and their organ-storage state, also called ocean acidification. The main cause of water pollution include domestic sewage and industrial wastewater, but among it, domestic sewage occupies the largest proportion as the main source of pollution. I would like to introduce Korea's ocean acidification as follows. Study on biological and ecological responses under high CO2 um, facility, estimate of air sea CO2 fluxes in the Korean waters through ship of eternity by Mrs. As I told you yesterday, I can say that to protect marine ecosystem, an ocean acidification monitoring system should be established for Korean waters. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Just to confirm, did you give any speech yesterday?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Delegate. The Delegate of Mauritius, are you ready with your speech?
Yes, I'm ready. Thank you for the
You may
recognition.
go.
Okay. Thank you for the recognition. Through the following topic, the delegate would like to divert the attention to one of the most crucial topics that's not only affecting the marine life, but indirectly the whole ecosystem: ocean acidification. Ocean acidification is the reduction of the ocean pH level because of human activities. When CO2 dissolves in seawater, the water becomes more acidic. The acidity of the ocean has increased by 26% since 1850, a rate of change roughly 10 times faster than any time in the last 55 million years. And here I would like to specifically focus on the shipping industry that's playing a great role in the carbon emissions and directly ocean acidification. Shipping is the key user of the sea, but sadly the technology and machineries are not advanced enough to not affect the ocean, do not affect the marine life. The number of oil spills in the last 5 years has significantly increased, and sadly, my country, Mauritius, has also been a victim of this. MV Wakashio oil spill occurred in 2020. This was a Japanese ship that eventually leaked and fell apart in the Indian Ocean, creating great damage to Mauritius and the other countries that were around it. And that were around it. Can you please give? And that's why the government of Mauritius is focusing on the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goal, because it's the key to the country's success and the safety of the marine life. I mentioned this earlier, and I would like to say this again, that Mauritius has also signed the Marpol Convention of IMO ANEEXX access for the prevention of such oil spills in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. Any questions for the delegate of Mauritius? No questions. The delegate of okay, the delegate of DPRK, you can go on with your question.
Yes, thank you for the recognition, head table. So my question to delegate of Mauritius is, the delegate mentioned that there was a certain oil spill which caused the damage to the delegate's country. So the delegate of DPRK would like to know how the nation of Mauritius tackled or faced that issue.
Delegate, please unmute yourself.
Thank you for the recognition. I would like to say that my country received several funds and that helped to tackle the issue. And furthermore, as I said, that the UN also helped my country to overcome this issue. Thank you.
Thank you, delegates. The delegate of Thailand.
Yes, I am ready. Thank you for
Yeah,
the
you may go.
recognition. Okay. Why is ocean acidification bad? There are both facilities to study the response of marine organisms to the chemistry condition expected with ocean acidification. Here's one of the side effects: is low carbon dioxide levels, which impact corals, crabs, and planktons. This is no joke for the seafood chain. Thailand has a big problem with water pollution. A lot of people don't get clean water. In 2016, a comprehensive study of water refill dispensers found that 40% of them failed to meet potable water quality standards. Because of this, the Department of Public Health has strict policy towards vending suppliers, requiring water refill dispensers operators to apply for a license to join their business. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, delegate. Any questions for the delegate of Thailand? The delegate of DPRK, do you have any question?
No, sorry, I forgot to unraise it.
It's okay. The delegate of Turkey. Delegate of Turkey. The delegate of Vietnam.
Thank you for your recognition. In Vietnam, according to global reports about CO2 emissions, ocean impact scenario, the East Sea will be gravely affected. Many regions in the East Sea will have a lower pH level of 0.3, which means a high level of acidification. Currently, only 80% of our corals still remain. By 2050, the numbers will decline to 50%, and by 2100, only 25%. In short, without preventive measures, sea creatures in general will be negatively affected, and corals in particular will be gravely destroyed by climate change. Why is the ocean acidified? One of the solutions Vietnam has suggested is education. There's a project in Vietnam called Blue Sea Vietnam. The aim of this project is to provide information about the sea from basic definition, value of biodiversity to challenges to oceans, raise awareness of connection between humans and oceans, what happened to the oceans, and also increase individual responsibility, promote the sharing between knowledge and actions in order to protect marine ecosystem, update the information about Vietnam Sea on all aspects of biodiversity and conservation programs. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. The delegate of any delegate has a question for the delegate of Vietnam? Seeing no questions, the delegate of United Kingdom. Delegate of United Kingdom, UK. I can see you in the committee, delegate. I guess he doesn't want to speak. It's okay now. We have elapsed with the GSL too, and that's a thing to applaud for the committee. So very well done to all delegates. May I know again who all are the first timers, like doing a MUN conference for the first time? Please raise your hands. Thank you, delegates. The delegate of Norway, I just saw you. Would you like to give your speech? Delegate of Norway. Yeah,
Yes.
you may go on.
I have a problem. Can I?
Yeah, you may rejoin, delegate.
The delegate of Norway wants to know that her presence had marked on yesterday because while the roll call, the delegate had a signal drop.
Okay, delegate, I'll do that. So we'll take a break after 10 minutes, I'd say. And after that, the vice chair, Arush, will take over the committee. Till then, what I would like to suggest you all is about how all you did in the committee. First and foremost, don't think whatever the results would be, whoever the best delegate is and whoever doesn't win, don't be disappointed. You all did very good in the committee. Seeing most of you were first timers, this was a very good level of debate and research. Just one thing I'd say, you all did a good amount of research, but in your speeches, just don't state the basic facts like uh, if I say in my speech that ocean acidification is caused due to the rise in level of carbon dioxide, that is a basic fact, I'd say, and every delegate knows that and they have researched well about it. So go for something unique, go for what your country is doing or what the United Nations or such organizations are doing for this. And you can also target any case study recently happening around the country where there has been violation of law. If you state things like these, that would be of a great value in the committee. And also, I noticed quite a few questions were not of that importance. Delegates were just asking like that. What is your country doing regarding this? Delegate, like anyone can go on the internet and search about what their country is doing or not, and this is a very basic question and need not be asked, I guess. When you ask a question, also you can and then also state facts like you can say that your country did this or 1 year ago. So what would you say on that? So I'd say you can focus more on qualitative facts. Anything any delegate would like to say or ask for the future, I'd say.
Yes. The delegate of Mauritius would like to say something.
Yeah, you
Yes.
may go on.
May I know what we are going to discuss after the break so that I could, or we all could prepare ourselves for that?
I guess we'll move on for another moderated caucus. So let us raise a motion right now so that we know the topic for the moderated caucus. Are there any motions on the floor? Are there any motions on the floor for moderated caucus delegates? The delegate of Maldives, you have been recognized.
Thank you, the executive board. The delegate of Maldives would like to suspend the formal debate and raise a motion for a moderated caucus on the topic how is ocean acidification impacting the human life and the food chain? For the total time being 15 minutes and each speaker's time being 60 seconds.
Thank you, delegate. We'll increase the total time being to 30 minutes as we have quite a number of delegates and we'd want everyone to speak. So the topic for the next moderated caucus is how is ocean acidification impacting the human life and the food chain. So when you get the break, you all can prepare for it. I'll also drop the topic in the chat box itself. And also, delegates, I'll drop my email ID so that you can ask for any personal feedbacks if you want or any future doubts if you have that how to go about MUNs in the future. Thank you, delegates. I had a great committee. Over to the vice chair now.
All right, delegates. So I'll be recognizing the more speakers for the moderated caucus. You may raise your hands. All right. Delegate of Denmark, followed by delegate of China. You may raise your hand for if you wish to be recognized in the moderated caucus. All right, delegate of Australia.
Also, delegates need not fear because we'll continue with the moderated caucus after the break. So you can give your names for now.
All right, delegate of Maldives, followed by delegate of DPRK. Delegate by the name Teja Sekano Serek. Can you just state your country?
India.
All right. India, followed by Qatar. All right. I would recognize more speakers after the break. The delegate of Denmark, you may proceed with your speech.
Sir, I have my research ready. I just need about a minute to build it up.
All right, delegate. I would put you in the
Vice
last.
Chair, I'd suggest that we can take a break right now itself, and then we'll continue directly after the break.
All right, delegate. All right, Chairperson. Maybe for around 8 minutes from now. I guess we'll be back at 4:40 IST.
A break for 15 minutes, delegates. You may prepare your speeches and have a rest.
Delegates, please switch on your cameras. We'll be proceeding with the committee.
All the delegates will be present. So, delegate of Denmark, are you ready for the speech?
Yes, I am.
Proceed.
Thank you for your recognition. The delegate of Denmark would like to start the caucus by talking about a concerning question. How is ocean acidification impacting the chain? Because there aren't enough minerals in the ocean to allow animals to build up their skeletons or shells, humans won't be able to consume seafood like oysters and shellfish. These animals need carbonate to grow their shells, but as the acid is eating away at them, will not be possible. As a result, predators like sharks would gradually run out of food and perish. Baleen whales and other ocean species won't have food either because they depend on plankton to thrive. Small species like clam, oysters, and sea urchin populations could decline due to acidification, which would affect larger fish that eat the smaller animals and sew up the food chain.
All right, are there any questions for the delegate? Can you raise your hands? Yes, delegate of China, you have a question. Delegate of China. Okay,
जो स्कूल गया था
okay.
उसी में कौन सा स्कूल है
So we'll proceed with the next delegate, delegate of China.
स्कूल गया था उसी में कौन सा स्कूल है मतलब SMA चला गया था ना, 9 गया था, उसकी जगह कौन सा स्कूल आया? कृति जो स्कूल गया था उसकी जगह कौन सा स्कूल आया था? कौन सा स्कूल? मलेशिया से आया था। SMA में गाड़ी
Delegate of China, you're next. You may speak. Delegate of China. All right, till then, Delegate of Australia, you can go ahead.
I'm back.
Thank you for recognizing me. I would just need 2 seconds. Should I continue?
Sure.
Ocean acidification can modify the abundance and chemical composition of harmful algal blooms in such a way that shellfish toxicity increases and therefore human health is negatively affected. Ocean acidification makes it difficult for crabs, oysters, and urchins to build the shells they need to survive. Some hatcheries have lost 80% of their oyster production. When the small animals die off, there's less food for larger fish and marine mammals. While ocean acidification won't make seawater dangerous for swimming, it will upset the balance among the multitudes of microscopic life found in every drop of seawater. Corals provide livelihood for local communities, and they are majorly affected by ocean acidification.
All right, delegates, you may raise, if you have any questions, you may raise your hand. As I see no questions, we may proceed to the next delegate, the delegate of Maldives. You may proceed with this.
Just a second, co-chair. Delegate of China, you can speak. You were not responding earlier, so you can go now. And then delegate of Maldives, you can speak next.
Yeah, delegate of China, you can proceed.
The delegate of China would like to take a vote for recognition. There are multiple effects on our ecosystem caused by pollution, and this has multiple effects on food, life, and life.
Delegate, are you finished with your speech? Delegate of China. I guess she has kept the meeting. She may continue later on. You may proceed with the delegate of Maldives.
Thank you, Delegate Board, for the recognition. The ocean provides resources key to human health and well-being, including food, oxygen, livelihoods, blue spaces, and medicines. The global threat to these resources posed by accelerating ocean acidification is becoming increasingly evident as the world's ocean absorb carbon dioxide emissions. Even the food chain is badly affected due to ocean acidification. Animals able to survive and reproduce in more acidic waters are likely to become smaller, potentially affecting the food chain that relies on them. Since life in the ocean is always food for something else, any increase or decrease in the abundance of a species can have a ripple effect on other species. This is because ocean food chains are complex. Changes in the number of one type of animal can affect the number of animals that feed on it, and so forth. The complexity of ocean food webs and other ongoing environmental problems like ocean acidification make it difficult to predict how ecosystems will reorganize under increased seawater acidity. Thank you.
All right, delegates, are there any questions for the delegate of China, delegate of Maldives? I see no hands, so we proceed on. Delegate of China. I guess she has left again. Delegate of DPRK. You may proceed with your speech.
Thank you, Head Table, for the recognition. So, the topic is ocean acidification on humans and food chains. So, when talking about ocean acidification, the delegate of DPRK would like to give an example which happened recently near the coast of Sri Lanka, where with the prior permission from the delegate of Sri Lanka, near Sri Lanka last year, as I remember, the express pearl ship literally explode, and a lot of toxins was absorbed into the sea, which did pretty much a lot of damage to the marine life near Sri Lanka. And because of this, a lot of animals died, like a lot. And when a lot of animals dies because of acidification caused, this negatively affects the food chains, because when food chains are attached to one another, and when one species gets damaged in a significant amount, the others get affected by it. And if we take humans, when acidification occurs, the pH level starts to decrease within the ocean. And when pH level decreases, marine animals, the chemical composition of their bodies literally change, and some converts into toxins, which in turn negatively affects the human bodies. So it is clear that acidification negatively affects on humans and food chains. So it is necessary to tackle the issues which cause acidification, not just the carbon dioxide emission. As the delegate previously mentioned, the mentioned explosion of the ship, which is not actually directly associated with the carbon dioxide emission, but yet it caused a huge acidification within the area of that ocean. So the delegate would like to suggest, like to remind the council that it's not just the carbon dioxide emission, but things like that also happens, which causes acidification. So yes, the delegate would suggest that it is necessary to keep an eye on things like that as well. Thank you.
All right, delegate. Delegate of any questions for the delegate of TPRK? All right, delegate of Maldives, you may ask your question.
Thank you, the co-chair. So the question of the delegate of Maldives from the delegate of DPRK is that can veganism help in contributing to human health?
Well, it takes two ways. Like veganism might be helpful for some and might not be helpful for some as well. So the delegate of DPRK does not see it as an actual solution, but it could be implemented according to the delegate's opinion.
Right, thank you, delegate of DPRK. You may move on to the next delegate, delegate of India. You may proceed with the speech. Right. I'll read the questions.
Thank you for your recognition. Humanity as a whole greatly depends on the ocean. For example, more than 3.5 billion people depend on it as their primary source of food. The demand of seafood for seafood is increasing and therefore putting more pressure on the ecosystem. The increased acidity due to ocean acidification impacts the ability of shelled organisms to maintain their shells and may cause their population to decrease. And since food webs are complex and interconnected, a change in population of one animal can affect the animals that feed on them. The decrease in fish population impacts, as well as the food industry, the fishing industry, which is a livelihood to many, especially those in more impact in less more marginalized and more vulnerable communities. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate of India. Are there any questions for the delegate of India? I see no questions, so the next speaker, delegate of Qatar. Delegate of Qatar, are you there?
Yes.
Yeah, you may
I'm
proceed
here.
with the speech.
Thank you for the recognition. An account that life in the ocean is usually food for something else, and reducing the balance of species could have a bad effect on different species. This is due to the fact that ocean meals webs are complicated. Adjustments in the quantity of one type of animal can affect the variety of animals that feed on it, and so forth over numerous generations. This can have an essential impact on the composition of ocean life in the destiny. If ocean and coastal acidification disrupts organisms and meal webs, we are able to expect consequences to bring out fundamental adjustments in ecosystems. As an example, corals build their difficult sturdy skeletons out of calcium carbonate. Corals may not form calcium carbonate under extended acidity, and underneath intense acidity, the coral skeletons can dissolve. As a consequence, the effect of improved ocean acidity on one kind of organism can have critical results for whole ecosystems. But humans are equally affected by acidification because the fishes that eat humans, those fishes eat the fishes with the shells, which are under acidity. In conclusion, because of ocean acidification, the delegate of Qatar feels that the world will experience a major change in the food webs and food chains and ecosystems. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate of Qatar. Are we having any questions for the Delegate of Qatar? I see no questions. More speakers to the caucus. You may raise your hand if you wish to be recognized. You may raise your hand if you wish to be recognized. Okay. Delegate of Mauritius, you're recognized. Any other delegate who wants to be recognized in the North Caucus? All right, delegate, you may continue the speech. Delegate of Mauritius.
Should I go next?
You can start with the speech.
Oh, sorry, I'm having some issue. I can't hear you properly.
You may proceed with the speech.
Yeah, I can. Okay. Thank you for the recognition. Ocean acidification not only affects marine life but also as humans and directly the food chain. But how? It affects the food we eat since most of our shellfish required calcium carbonate to form or to fortify their shells. Many of the fish we eat are also dependent on shelled animals for their food source, so the entire food chain is in danger. The uncertain future of coral reefs due to ocean acidification is also a major concern. Coral reefs are sometimes considered the medicine cabinets of the 21st century. Coral reefs plants customer prices. Okay, thank you.
Are you finished with the speech?
Yeah, I'm done with the speech. You may go ahead. And I'm having some problem with my mic.
All right,
Okay, I'm sorry for that.
no problem, delegate. Delegates, on the decision of the executive board, you may break for a 10-minute mod caucus. You may remain in the meeting and discuss whatever you think would be better for the committee in the next 30 minutes. All right, delegates.
The delegate of Maldives thinks that in this moderated caucus topic, we all have discussed about the fishes and importance of fishes for the ecosystem. So the delegate of Maldives thinks that we should, look for a solution which can prevent fishes from getting extinct and the good species of fishes which are important for the ecosystem and for the coral reefs. The delegate of Maldives would like to add one point that Maldives has set a fishing limit on the fishermen so that they cannot exceed that limit when they are fishing, which is helping the fishes from not getting extinct and the good quality fishes and the species which are helping a lot in the ecosystem to stay in the ocean.
Delegates, this is an unmoderated caucus. You may put across your opinions that what should be done in the committee next.
The delegate of Mauritius agrees with the delegate of Maldives that we should go for a solution and for how can we stop this.
Delegate of Maldives thinks that there should be a common solution which can, implemented by all the countries, and which will not lead to any discrimination towards any country, like on the basis of economy or the politics and all.
The delegate of China agrees that there should be a monetary caucus based on solutions to the previous issue.
The delegate of Maldives think that setting up a limit of for fishing is a good solution by which we can, prevent the fishes from getting extinct, and this can be done by any of the country, I think.
The delegate of Australia feels that the solution suggested by delegate of Maldives is good, but he also suggests one more solution, that instead of just putting a limit on the fishing, all countries can gradually switch their diet from an animal based diet to a complete plant based diet, sacrificing all animal products such as seafood.
Delegate of Maldives agree with the delegate of Australia, but I think that the government can, like on their own, set a limit on the on the fishing, but they have to, do some a kind of promotion for this, for setting up a veganism and a plant-based diet. So that will be a solution, but also it will provide some, that will need some money, right? Promote the plant-based diet in the country. But setting up a fishing limit is not like this is user money. This is government can set a law, and that will be followed by all the people, and they should follow this law.
The delegate of China would agrees with the delegate of the Maldives and disagrees with the delegate of Australia. Though it would be a good thing to turn completely to a completely plant-based diet, it would probably not be a possible solution for multiple countries, as for many different nations of the world. And a cheaper solution would actually be meat, which is why, just like the delegate of the Maldives has previously said, the nations should monitor how much is being fished and how much is being slaughtered for the benefit and use of people.
The delegate of Mauritius agrees with the delegate of China and eventually disagrees with the delegate of Australia, as the delegate of Australia has mentioned that uh, the fishes should be banned. Like no one should eat the fishes. So I don't think that it's a proper solution, because, as we all know, that the marine animals are a key to so many medicines. So many medicines are made of these fishes and all these kind of stuff. So we can't just what we can do is we could focus on more reproduction of these marine animals. So we could focus on like increasing their amount artificially. So yeah, this is what the delegate of Mauritius thinks is correct.
The delegate of China agrees with the delegate of Mauritius, and another solution could be for banning something in fishery, specifically caviar, as it's a form of torture to fishes, and it would eventually cause the extinction of specific types of fish. As the delegate of Mauritius mentioned, it would not be possible as multiple medicines are created from fish and seafood. Another thing that fish and seafood are relied on is a diet of billions of people around the world. Approximately 1 billion people use fish as their primary source of protein, which is necessary to not develop the disease kwashiorkor, which is why it wouldn't be possible to ban it. However, there could be like China has done in the past few years. China is starting to monitor high sea transshipment, which is the practice of transferring cargo from one ship to another ship in the sea at sea, which fishers use to hide the true origin of the volume of their catch. And this has actually prevented the extinction of multiple types of fish in the coast of China.
The delegate of Maldives would like to add one point that there are many plant-based alternatives of medicines which are replacing the fishes, but that is not the point where we are looking at. The main point that we cannot use this as a solution is that it is a long-term solution, right? So we should look for a short-term solution like setting up a limit, because the government can immediately set up a limit and the fisherman has to follow them. But for the veganism and plant-based diet, the government has to go for some campaigns and promotion that will take some time. So we should look for short term solution because there are many long term solutions.
Yes, delegate of DPRK agrees with Maldives as well. DPRK has also established a fishing limit, and meanwhile, the delegate of DPRK would like to suggest it would be better if the ministries, the governments could ban some fishing. Like there are some fishes which are really necessary to keep the environment balanced. So it is necessary that the governments would put a fish ban on several fishes as well. And as the delegate of Mauritius mentioned, fish farming could be a solution as well. But again, it should be done under proportion and not actually affect the original composition of these animals.
The delegate of Australia agrees with the delegate of DPRK and delegate of Maldives. So for short term, we can set up a limit on fishing, and also we can put ban on certain fishes that are endangered and are at a fear of being extinct. And while we are making laws for these procedures, we can also alternatively we can create awareness campaigns gradually for switching from a complete animal based diet to a semi plant based diet or a complete plant based diet.
The
All
delegate
right,
of Maldives
delegates.
agrees with the delegate of Australia.
Yeah, delegates. We are back in a formal session. Are there any questions you want to ask? Yeah,
The
delegate of
delegate of Mauritius would like to add a point here in the unmoderated caucus.
All right, delegate of Mauritius. You may add your point, and then once you're over, then we may continue with the formal speeches.
Yes. As the delegate of Australia and Maldives said that there should be a limit for the fishing, I agree with it. But as we do for plants, what we do when we are when we are cutting a plant, what we suggest is we plant two more plants there. So what we could do if we are using a fish, or if we are using that fish for a proper for medicinal use or for eating or whatever, what should be our focus is to regenerate those species and to not extinct them. And yeah, I also agree with that with you that we should put a ban or limit to those fishes or marine or aquatic animals that are extincting. Yeah, so that's the point. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate of Mauritius. Now, as we are ending to the committee, yeah, I may recognize more speakers for GSMs. You may raise your hand, delegate, who wish to be recognized. Delegate of Mauritius, you wish to be recognized for a speech?
No, no. I'm sorry.
Right. Any delegate who wants to speak in the committee? Any speaker? Delegate of Maldives, do you wish to speak?
Yes, yes. The delegate of Maldives wishes to raise a motion to open the general speakers list for default time being 90 seconds. Thank you, the co-chair, for the.
Delegate.
Sorry, yes.
Delegate, we are ending to the committee, so we can take any speeches. So I may not accept the GSL motion. You may speak your GSL or mod. All right, delegate. You may continue with the GSL.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, the co-chair, for your recognition. Sorry. The delegate of Maldives would like to address the main causes of ocean acidification. It is mainly caused by carbon dioxide gas in the atmosphere dissolving into the ocean. This leads to a lowering of the water's pH, making the ocean more acidic. Many factors contribute to rising carbon dioxide levels. Deforestation results in fewer trees to absorb the gas. Also, when plants are cut down and burned or left to rot, the carbon that makes up their organic tissue is released as carbon dioxide. In the past, ocean acidification occurred naturally, but over much longer periods of time, it is occurring faster than in the last 20 million years. Other industrial processes also contribute to atmospheric carbon dioxide levels. More than one third of the world's population lives in one of the 25 nations that will be most affected by ocean acidification. If nations do not slow down their emissions drastically, scientists project a massive extinction of corals worldwide by the end of the century. As reefs disappear, many commercially important fish species that depend upon reef services will also be in danger. The world's fisheries are likely to be affected by acidification, both directly through biological and physiological changes. As acidification worsens, many countries will suffer economic and food insecurity, as well as the loss of coastal storm protection and tourism revenue. Tourism is the largest industry in Maldives, accounting for 28% of the GDP. As the delegate of Maldives have already mentioned in the first GSL that Maldives is creating a floating city to prevent the country from sinking, this floating city will also help in affecting the tourism positively, as this is an innovative idea. But due to not a very strong economy, the country is unable to implement this idea. Ocean acidification is affecting the tourism of the country, which accounts for 28% of the GDP. If Maldives will not get an economic support, then as per the prediction, Maldives will sink underwater and the world will lose one of the most diverse countries in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate of Maldives. Are there any questions to the delegate of Maldives? As I see no questions, delegate of Maldives, are you open to a question from the executive board?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Can you repeat?
Yeah, are you open to a question by the executive board?
Yes.
All right, delegate. Delegate, you mentioned about a floating city that you plan to build in Maldives. Considering you even mentioned about the economic backdrops and the policies, I'm reading the policies, your economic policies your government has been implementing. They aren't favorable for any private sector to invest in your country. So how do you counter that point? Delegate.
Okay, so I would like to give a proposal to the IMF to fund us, and also the World Bank and the Asian Development Bank funds to Maldives to prevent and to go and implement on this idea. And if someone will fund in this idea, I can definitely assure, because the Maldives started taking debt in 2016 for some infrastructural work, and this debt started rising and it went till 2021. And COVID-19 pandemic also had a very negative impact on Maldives. But in 2022, the debt didn't rise and it also stabilized and it is reducing now. Why? Because tourism is a great factor in Maldives economy. So I can assure that if someone will fund in making this floating city in Maldives, tourism will be definitely positively effective, as I mentioned in my speech, because it is an innovative idea, and tourism and the tourists will be attractive towards this. So we can pay back the debt, and the economic growth will be high.
Delegate, can I ask another question to your answer?
Sure.
All right, delegate. Delegate, you mentioned that IMF or the World Bank must finance the city. So I'm just reading that the government of Mauritius has defaulted around 7 to 8 loans, which may cost around 60 to 70 billion dollars. So how do you counter that, considering the World Bank may put you in the gray or blacklist?
Okay, that's what I'm mentioning. If I'll suppose that if the idea is of some more money, so what will I do of $60 billion, right? So I need some more money to implement this idea, and then I can pay back. Then the delegate of Maldives, the country Maldives, can pay back this debt, because as we have mentioned, as the stats of the debt are reducing in 2022 because of the tourism.
All right, Delegate. Thank you, Delegate. Are there any other speakers who wish to be recognized? All right, delegates, as no speaker wish to be recognized, so we'll be ending the committee now. I may ask the OCMO to take over. Just a minute. Of Australia, you have a question?
I can speak one more speech.
You have a speech? All right, you can continue. All right, so we'll be finishing our committee. Delegate of DPRK. Australia, we have recognized you.
Is it possible for me to speak as well?
All right, so we'll be taking two more speeches, the delegate of Australia, followed by delegate of DPRK. Then we'll be finishing our committee. All right, delegates. The delegate of Australia, you may proceed.
Greetings, everyone. Thank you, the co-chair, for recognition. The delegate of Australia would like to express his viewpoint on how a drop in the pH affects the water body. Many chemical reactions, including those that are essential for life, are sensitive to small changes in pH. In humans, for example, normal blood pH ranges between 7.35 and 7.45. A drop in blood pH of 0.2 to 0.3 can cause seizures, comas, and even death. Similarly, a small change in the pH of seawater can have harmful effects on marine life, reproduction, and growth. The best way to reduce ocean acidification is to reduce the use of traditional fossil fuels. We should stop using the traditional fossil fuels and switch to renewable sources of energy like solar energy, wind energy, etc. It could act with the same zone as it would reduce the carbon dioxide emissions, which would decrease the amount of global warming as well as ocean acidification. Moreover, the fossil fuels are depleting at a constant rate and very frequently. So, using them would deplete them. So we can switch from traditional fossil fuels to renewable sources of energy.
Delegate of Australia, are there any questions for the delegate of Australia? Are there any questions for the delegate of Australia? All right. So the last speaker of this committee is DPRK. DPRK, you may proceed with the speech.
Thank you so much, Executive Board, for the recognition. So, throughout the committee on the board days, it was discussed how acidification occurs. It could be carbon dioxide emission or sulfur emission, dumping waste, and all sort of things. And even though the pH level decreases with time, it's a very long process, but naturally, when time goes on, the pH level would become it would come back to the original level, but it takes a lot of time. So the delegate of DPRK would like to suggest something which could be used to quicken this natural process, which is actually marine geoengineering. The international the IMO has already added this to their plans, and the delegate of DPRK would like to speak on that as well. Well, marine geoengineering basically stimulates the primary productivity of oceans. It does not include any type of a convention aquaculture or marine culture, which means it does not create artificial reefs or something. It just quickens the natural process. So the delegate of DPRK believes that it would be rate if the possible nations, because the delegate of DPRK knows it's not possible for every nation, because some nations do have economical problems with the COVID pandemic and all these inflammations happening. So the delegate of DPRK would like to encourage those willing and able nations to apply this geoengineering to quicken this natural process of taking back the oceans to the original pH levels. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate of DPRK. Mauritius, do you have a question?
I would like to add a point. Okay.
Yes, Mauritius, you can add your point.
Okay, thank you for the recognition. The delegate of Mauritius thinks that the biggest solution for this problem, the ocean acidification, is that we should work together to aware people about the specific ocean acidification, as this is a new topic and not so many people know about it and are aware of it. So the solution could be we should work together to aware the nations and people about this issue, ocean acidification. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate of Mauritius. As we have a last committee, I would like to congratulate that the committee comes to an end. All right, delegates, you may proceed. The OC may post link of the closing ceremony. You may join this. I've even posted my email ID. If any of you want a private feedback, you may just mail me. Thank you, delegates. It was a wonderful session. Thank you.
Right, delegates, I'll share the link for the closing ceremony in just a minute. Till then, can we have a group photograph, everyone? You can switch on your cameras.
Actually, the delegate of Australia is facing some issue with the device. He's joining with the delegate is joining with the laptop. So can you please wait for a minute?
Right. Till then, I'll send the link for the closing ceremony. All right, delegates, any questions that you have? If you have any questions, you can ask.
The delegate of Maldives would like to ask that do we have to fill a feedback form for this session also?
No, delegate. The feedback form was shared yesterday. Although if you want to give any feedback regarding us, you can give it right now.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
The delegate of Mauritius would like to clear this confusion that are you going to send the link here or are you going to send it on the Telegram group? Because I'm in this. Because I'm in
delegate.
Okay, I can carry on.
Delegate, I'm sharing the closing ceremony link here in the chat as well and on the Telegram as well. So you can join, right? I'm sharing it.
Okay, thank you.
You may start joining the closing ceremony. I've shared the link in the chat box. You can leave this meeting and join the closing ceremony.
Okay.
The delegate of Maldives would like to ask that, have you taken the group photograph?
I already have a lot of screenshots and I'll share those only. Okay. So you can start joining the closing ceremony.
Okay. Thank you.
That's been written right now.
Delegate of Sri Lanka, could you repeat?
So we need to go to the ceremony link right now.
Yeah, right now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Delegate of Philippines, delegate of Ukraine, you can join the closing ceremony.